I'm Paul Groos. I'm doing this on how to dress a chicken. First, you will grab the chicken by the legs and put it in either a cone, head down, or you can use a slip knot and just tie its legs together. So then it'll be hanging, so its head's facing down. Then we'll take a very sharp knife and brush away the feathers on the neck and make a quick slice on the throat near the jugular. This isn't the old way of doing it. The old way was just kind of ripping it off or using a hatchet. But that's a little bit too brutal nowadays, and this is much nicer. So after you have cut the jugular, you will wait until it bleeds out completely. It's actually pretty peaceful. It won't flop around at all. After it has bled out completely, you can sever the head, and then you will scald it with hot water around 160 degrees. Works best if you get like a big pot and boil some water, and then you dip it in there and keep it in there for about 30 seconds. And then you can get some rubber gloves, and then you can basically just scrape away all of the feathers. Plucking is my least favorite part of butchering a chicken because it's so tedious and you can never get all the feathers. After you remove most of the feathers, you can either get a blowtorch and scorch off the little hairs, or you can get in there with some pliers and get the thin feathers out. First thing of butchering the chicken actually is getting the crop out of the front part of the chest cavity. And for that, you will cut away any extra skin or fat from the neck area, if you want to save the neck. Most people do. And then you will cut away all the extra skin, and there'll be a little pouch. And hopefully you haven't fed them before this, otherwise it'll be full of grass and grain, whatever you've been feeding them. And then you will cut that out, and then there'll be a little nice cavity there, and it'll look nice for cooking. After you've done that, and you will cut the esophagus when you do that also. Then you will flip the chicken over and you will cut near the rectum of the chicken and make sure not to cut the intestines, otherwise it'll be very messy and you will taint the meat. There will be a small bone at the very top and you'll just want to barely cut through that. And then you'll flip it over and cut all the meat around the bone away. And then you can make an incision up near the chest cavity so you can get your hand in there, so later on you can pull all the organs out. But then I usually slice all the way around the intestines so you can pull that out easier and there's no chance of it bursting when you're pulling it out. When you are pulling it out, I like to imagine that I'm trying to grab the tonsils of the chicken. Imaginary tonsils, because of course chickens do not have them. So you reach up as far as you can and just kind of grab whatever you can and just pull it out gently. You can usually pull it out gently. The heart, which I like to save, you can just comes out, you can put it off to the side. The gizzard is a little bit more time consuming. You will get the gizzard, cut the intestines away from it, and then you will cut it in half. It's pretty self-explanatory where to cut it in half. And then you will clean out all of the grass and grain that is in it. And then you will rinse that out pretty well because you don't want any of that in the meat. And then there's an inner lining on the gizzard. It almost feels like plastic or rubber. And that's depending on how quickly you can get this done. It's pretty easy to take out, but it's not very fun. Overall, butchering chickens is, I think, great because I know where my food's coming from. And it's a pretty good source of income for me. So I just butcher my own chickens and I can sell them for more because people know that they're fresh and that I've taken good care of them. Are there any questions? The question was if I raised the chickens that I butchered and cleaned, and the answer is yes. I pasture graze them in a fenced-in area and I raise them for a few months. The question was, who do I sell the chickens to? It's usually family, friends, whoever I can contact that wants some fresh chickens. The question was if I had a grocery store or anything that I sold them at, and the answer is no. I can usually get rid of almost all of them for my family and friends, so I don't really need that. The question was how long I've been dressing my own chickens. This year was my more independent year. Years before, my aunt came over and she kind of taught me how to do this, so she was a big help.
How long does it take you to dress one?
The question was how long does it take me to dress one? It works pretty well if we have 3 people, one to actually kill, one to pluck, one to butcher it. And we can do one in about 5 minutes. The question was how many chickens have I butchered or dressed this summer? And this summer I've done around 35, which isn't that really big of a quantity for me, but it's a good amount. The question was if I'm selling them by the pound, and I'm not. The bigger ones I sell for 15, and the smaller ones I sell for about 10.
If you were to dress a neighbor's chickens, how much would you charge to dress a neighbor's chicken back?
The question was how much would I charge if I were to dress someone else's chicken for them? I'd probably ask them what they were selling them to begin with, and then I'd probably just have a percentage, maybe. That seems like a pretty fair deal.
I missed the first part of yours, so I apologize if you answered this, but what kind of food safety concerns do you have to keep in mind when you're choosing a location to do this, and like all the equipment that you're using? What kind of food safety issues and people safety issues do you have to think about?
The question was what safety measures do I take and what do I have to think about? I really just need a sterile cutting board from the beginning, and you have to repeatedly rinse off the chicken just to make sure that it's not contaminated. It's pretty easy to find a spot. You just need a good flat area and somewhere you can hang the chickens, and then something to dispose of the organs and all the extra fat and stuff.
So are you outside when you do this?
The question was if I was outside, and yes, I am.
So then does the temperature outside make a difference in whether you actually do outside or inside?
The question was if the temperature makes a difference. It does if we have to go quicker when it's hotter, because then the meat spoils quicker. But we usually always do it outside just because we don't want to clean up after it. Are there any more questions? Alright, thank you guys.